everybody, Kanith here from TOR-AID, and I'm going to give you guys a demonstration on how to play the Old Republic's Pazaak. We don't know if this will be in the Old Republic, however it was in BioWare's previous installment of Knights of the Old Republic, so we have a pretty good feeling that it will be in this game. So in case reading about it doesn't help, we're going to go ahead and show you how the game functions. Alright, let's get down to it. There are three ways to win Pazaak. It works kind of like blackjack, and that is to either have a higher score than your opponent as long as the score is 20 or below. So in the sense that blackjack is the high score is 21, Pazaak's high score is 20. The other way to win is to fill out all 9 slots of the playing field, and you'll see the playing field here in just a minute. The third way to win is to cause your opponent to bust, to go over 20 and not be able to come back from it. So you would win by default. So now we've discussed the 3 winning conditions, let's talk about how to get there. You'll see here you'll have a set of side cards. This is your side deck that you collect as a player in the universe. Right here is your 10 sets of chosen cards. This acts as a place where you want to tell the game what kind of cards you want in the game. Whenever you will start a round of Pazaak, you will not see all 10 cards. Instead, the game will pick 4 cards from this deck at random. All you're telling it is what cards you might like to see in the game. These cards themselves all act as modifiers for your total score. So we'll go ahead and see these babies in action here in a second. So let's go ahead and load up our desired 10 possible cards to play with the game. So whenever we hit play, we're going to go ahead and jump into game, and it's going to pick 4 of these 10 cards at random, so we don't know what we're getting. And here we are in a game of Pazaak. Now let's go over a few things that you see right here. You'll see here on the left side is my side of the playing field, and here on the right is the opponent's. So we'll just ignore his for now. You'll see 9 possible card locations, or places that you can play cards in the game. They'll typically go in order, so you won't be playing cards over here, over here. You'll play them in order as they go. Okay, so we've discussed the playing field. This is your hand. These are the 4 cards that were assigned to us at random from the deck we chose. And then finally, up here on the left is an indicator of how many sets of Pazaak I've won. The way you win a game of Pazaak is you must win 3 out of 3 sets. So basically, if you lose the first set, it's okay. You can still come back as long as your opponent's score does not reach 3 out of 3. And up here, you'll see the total number of all the cards on the field. Here he has 0 because he's played no cards. And here we have 4 because the main deck has dished us out a card. Now let me discuss how the game works. At the beginning of a round, one player will receive a card from the main deck. You can't see the main deck, just assume it's out here. Will receive a card from the main deck at random. The main deck cards are always going to be positive numbers and any number between 1 and 10. You'll be able to distinguish main deck cards because they're green and they're always going to be positive solid numbers. Now, whenever I end my turn, what that does is it lets the deck dish out a card to the opponent. Now, for each turn that you go on, we are currently on our turn. We've dished out a card. You can either play a card from your hand, you can stand, which will end the round for you. You will not receive cards or dish out cards any longer, or you can simply end your turn and let the deck dish out a card for your opponent. Now you'll see here, he drew a 3 from the main deck at random, and then I drew a 9 from the main deck at random. So his turn is over, and now it's back to my turn. Now, in this situation, you can choose to play a card from your hand, which will alter this total score that you'll see up here. So if I decide to drag this +1 from my hand into the playing field, it would give me 14 points. However, that is still not high enough in order to win a set. We want to get somewhere close to 20. So we're going to go ahead and end our turn. And there we are. We're 19. We are 1 point away from 20. As you can see here, we have 2 possible avenues to get to 20. You have a +1 card, which will go ahead and just add 1 point to the score, and it will basically act as a modifier for these cards. When you play it, it's also as if you're playing a card from the main deck, but you are choosing which card you want. The other way we can go is we can use a special card, something called a flip card. Flip cards work in that they are both positive and negative cards. You can change the value as you need them. So these are actually a lot more versatile and a lot more useful than having simply positive or negative cards on the deck. So it enables you to basically have 2 cards in 1 slot. But because we have this basic +1 card, we're going to go ahead and play it. And this will bring our score up to 20. Now you'll see our opponent also played a +5 to bring his score up to 20. So whenever a set is tied, like you see here, nobody receives any points for the set. Basically, it's as if it never happened. So let's try to get an edge over our opponent. As you see here, we got pretty close to 20 already. We're at 18 points. Now, we have this flip card here that will give us +2 or -2. We want it to be +2, and you can tell it's a +2 because of the plus sign indicator in the top right corner. Don't pay attention to the rest of this stuff. This is all that counts, right here. So we're going to go ahead and play +2 to the field, give us 20. But he also got enough points to get to 20, so we tied. So let's try to win a match, or at least let the opponent win a match. Oh, I went ahead and went over. I busted. However, I can still recover by changing the value of this flip card to -1 and bringing the score down to 20. So you can see here we've played 3 matches and nobody's won. This can make games of Pazaak kind of long. Now, the opponent's already won because we do not have a -1. We could play the -2 and bring our score down to 19 and then just by pure luck try to draw a 1 from the main deck. However, this chance of winning is not very good. We busted, so we'll go ahead and end the turn. The opponent won the set. Now you can see here that they have a light indicating they've won 1 out of 3 sets. When all these line up and they're all 3, the opponent has won the entire match. Now we've discussed flip cards, plus cards, and minus cards. We're going to talk about specials, and these are my favorite. Alright guys, here we are to talk about the special cards that you can possibly find in the game. These are the 4 cards that have been presented in the KOTOR universe as being special Pazaak cards. So let's go ahead and get down to what they do. We'll start with the D. The D is basically a double card. Whenever you play this card on a field, it mirrors the last card you have dished out to you. So because the main deck gave us a 1, if we play this double, it will also act as a 1 card. So this is good if you start a game with 10 points and you want to go ahead and add another 10 points and automatically hit 20 with only 2 card plays. Next, we'll go over this card right here. This is a very handy card in that you can not only make it a 1 or a 2, but also a negative or a positive number. So this is basically 4 cards rolled into 1 card. So if you had a whole deck of these, who knows what you could do with this puppy. But regardless, let's go ahead and just add 2 points to the field. Now, let's go ahead and see if this 2 and 4 does exactly what I think it does. And it does! Now, that card is very handy because what it does is, not only does it have no value, so it will add no points to your score, but whenever you play a 2 and 4, it will change any 2 or 4 on the field to the opposite of what you had played. So, because we played the 2, it went ahead and changed the 2 to a -2. If we had any 4s or any other 2s on the field, they would switch in value. They would change to negatives if they were positives, and vice versa. So finally, let's look at this +1, -1 tiebreaker card. This puppy is also very handy for ending ties in a game. It can change between 1 or -1, and basically what happens is, if you hit a tie, then you will win the set instead of nobody getting any points for it. It's very rare you actually get to use this card, but in the event that you do, you can actually break those really annoying and tedious tiebreaker moments. Here we are. Now, we're not going to get a tie, but we will be able to add 1 point to the score. So if anything, it acts as a +1, -1 card, even though it has this nifty little T on the end of it. So what this does is, not only do you get to add or subtract a point from your score, but in the event that you actually make a tie, let's say we were at 18 and we added 1 to make 19, instead of nobody getting any points, we would win the set. Of course, we won simply because we had a higher score. So, that is Pazaak. So hopefully the people at BioWare will stick it in TOR and we'll get to play this game in a cantina or in a, I don't know, a tournament setting somewhere. I mean, who knows? Card games aren't for everybody, especially not card games in games. But in the event that you want to play, hopefully this tutorial will help you guys understand. So, I will see you guys on the TOR side of the universe.